Hi everyone, today we're going to look at an arrowhead card. I wasn't sure about this at the beginning, but it's growing on me. So as it will stand up on its point, and you can do them from a normal 6x6 card. So let's take a look at this. First time we're going to measure on the bottom edge away from the fold, and there's a little trick to this. A lot of people worry about getting the measurements right. This is slightly smaller than 15. So what I'm going to do now is, if I watch where my number 15 is here, I'm going to put it up there. I'm going to let this side overhang 1mm and this side 1mm, and then I can mark 7.5 there. So I need it right down at the bottom. Turn it round, and I want to split this into thirds. So again, this happens to be exactly 15, so I'm going to measure 5, 10. Turn it round, and on the opposite side I'm going to measure 10 and 5. You need your measurements right on the edge. Now we can bring in the scoreboard, and there is an easy way of doing this. So I'm going to take my score tool, and on all of my scoreboards I put black lines in permanent marker so that I've got a good reference, and I do it on the most popular bits. So on this one I've got 5, 10, 15, 20. So I'm going to place it on any of the lines, and I'm letting my crease here line up with that, and I'm turning my card so that my halfway point down here is marked. So I'm then going to score that, and I'm going to leave my tool right at the bottom, carry on swivelling until my first mark here lines up, and I'm coming down that angle. Leave my tool in place, swivel it until it gets to the other one. There, I've completed that side. Right, I'm leaving my tool in place, and I'm swivelling round to this side of the fold, and I'm coming down to that one, leave my tool in place, swivel to my 5cm mark, leave the tool in place, and turn round until I line up the 10cm. I'm going to try and get this you can just see I've got the 3 lines on both sides. So we're going to put that out the way. I'm going to open my card, and I'm going to fold along that first score mark. I'm going to fold back and then back again. Now you can see that we're starting to get the arrowhead. So I'm going to this side, fold and burnish, fold, and I'm trying to make sure that I get a really good point at this base, and that is half of the problem. We need to keep our tool in that space as we swivel our card. So I'm going to turn it over. That will be the completed arrowhead. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this back piece, which will be the inside of the card. Okay, I've chosen these papers here This, I'm going to use one of those as my accent on the front. I'm not sure which one yet, we'll see later. So I'm popping those to one side. And I've got this light patterned paper, a darker one and a contrast. So the lighter one I'm going to put inside the card. Now it's got a variation of colour, so I'm actually going to turn it that way so that I've got the darker pattern at the bottom and the lighter one at the top. So I'm going to take my double-sided tape and I'm going to put 3 strips across. You can use wet glue. It really doesn't matter, whatever you find is the best for you to use. Wet glue does give you a little bit of wiggle room. Now, if I was to place this on the top here, I've got to get it exact. So I now flip over and I'm going to place that into the fold, and I'm simply going to fold that down. When I turn it over, it's right up against that crease, and I'm now going to just cut off, using a craft knife and ruler, anything that hangs over. That's that one, and I've got a little bit that's hanging over this side. There we go. So there is my inside covered. There is no white around the edges whatsoever. Now we're going to have a look at this piece. Okay. One of the things that I have to do as well is to cut off these extra wings that we don't need. I could leave them folded under and just stick them down, but I prefer to take them off. There we go. Right, we need to cover this bit. So for this one, I'm going to use this one, and we're going to use the same techniques. So we're going to place double-sided tape. Yeah. Now, so that I get everything fixed down nicely, I'm going to remove those, and then I can overlay my tape down to here. Now by removing that, I can make sure that I am going exact to the edge. There we go. Now, same way we did this, I'm going to turn that over. I'm going to line up to the top there, and I'm going to let it go down. So there is my paper fixed firmly in place. And I'm now going to take my ruler and my knife. I'm coming down to the point. That point is very important. Something didn't quite release, and I think it was that bottom bit. Obviously not. Free, and there was a piece. So I'm working. There we go. Right, so there is my front piece. These are my side wings. Now it's incredibly difficult to actually get a template to fit that, so what I do is pull that out for the moment, and I want these to show up, so I'm going to use the green. Same way, and actually I think I'm going to use wet glue. Just because I can, and it shows you a different way of doing it. So if I now take my wet glue, I'm going to place that there. Now exactly the same method, we're going to place this up into our crease, face down, and we're going to fold that over. That is exactly in the right place. Yeah, and I'm going to take my knife. You can use your ruler if you wish, but it's only a small piece. Yeah, so there is one side, and I'm going to take this side. Place the green face down into there and fold it. Okay, you can leave it for a few minutes there just to get tacky. And there we go. Right, so there is our card ready. Now I can take these. I think I'm going to go for that one. These were just in my drawer, ready done. So I'm going to place that one. Right, it's looking quite plain at the moment. So what I'm going to do now is to add some peel-offs to just enhance that a little bit. So here I have fine borders. If it's a pinky colour, I tend to go for silver. So let's take these. The secret to using peel-offs is to touch it at one edge, lift it, and put it down where you want it. I'll show you the difference in a minute. And then take this one. Touch it where you want it to start, lift it and touch it where you want it to finish. If I was to place my finger along here, every time I place it, it could kink. So lift, place down, and then put your finger across. This one, place, lift, place your finger on, across, and then off on that bit there. Okay, so there's our peel off around the edge. I'm then going to find corners aren't in this one, so I'm going to go for another strip, and I'm going to go corner to corner. I tend not to use the scraps on long runs. It's important that you have a straight edge. Joining little bits together is not going to be very successful. You can always use those at a later date, so touch, lift, yep. So we're starting to come together now, and I think what I shall do as well is to go and find a couple of corners. If I go to this box, and I'm going to pick up a couple of corners, and I can now place that onto there. That, and place that onto there. So there's our arrowhead card. Move these out the way for a moment while we have a look at this one. Now this one, I have cut that one slightly smaller to add a dark border instead of the peel-offs and the dark wings. So if I open that out, you can see that there. Now on this one we've used decoupage, and we've used one whole piece onto here, but to make it more like a porthole I've added the dark border around the outside, and these were a sheet of things from the range that to me just look like the porthole bolts and things. Okay, we've taken another piece of the decoupage to just tie it into here, and of course the papers are very sea themed. Now this piece here is acrylic dome, and what I tend to do is I have a stock of different domes that we use on men's watches, and this was the ideal size to go on the porthole. So we'll place that to one side. Let's have a look at one more, and this was a backing paper, and I decided to die cut one of the birds out and put a little die cut border around it. So again, it's a nice light colour inside so you can write. Always keep your writing in the middle, and then it's a surprise when it's opened. And this one has got the dark green, picking out some of the colours from the backing paper. Okay, so there's 3 arrowhead cards, very simple, from 6x6 cards. It will work with other square cards, and you just need to divide the centre bit at the bottom by half, and then this bit into thirds. Okay, so you can adjust it to whatever you like.